amendment that his sponsor made after the intervention of the Senate President Pro Temp, no, clarifying the definition of domicile is a very good definition. I commend him for that. Mas klaro talaga siya, and I'd like the sponsor to know na, to begin with, I only pointed that out precisely for the need for clarity. Ayoko ho nang magulo kasi lalong ikagaganda ng bill ng sponsor natin kung maganda yan. At ang akin hong mga comments hindi lang ho dahil kagustuhan ko, katulad po ng sinabi ng ating sponsor. Ikagaganda ho ng bill yan.
I understand, Mr. President, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. President, I will proceed with a very few amendments, and some of which may not be necessary, depending on the response of His Honor. Kasi again, most of them are clarificatory. So on page 8, section 7, we have a provision on the right to educational advancement and training at reasonable and affordable cost. So sabi dito, seafarers shall have access to educational advancement and training at reasonable and affordable cost. No fees or other charges other than tuition and other miscellaneous fees shall be imposed on cadets, interns, apprentices, on-the-job trainees, or other persons similarly situated. May I know if the bill defines cadets, interns, apprentices, and on-the-job trainings to ensure and those cadets, interns, apprentices, on-the-job trainees. I see that there is a definition for cadets, and the reason for my question is simply because we don't want there to be confusion na, ay, intern yan, ay, hindi yan intern, ay, hindi on-the-job training yan. So, sino po sila? Para maproteksyonan natin itong provision na ito na magbibigay sa kanila ng reasonable and affordable educational advancement and training.
Okay. What is the proposed amendment, Your Honor?
Your Honor, as I mentioned, my amendment will depend on the response to my question. Kasi hindi ho ako makapagawa ng amendment kung hindi ko po alam kung meron ho bang mga difference ang mga binanggit ko na types of students.
Because in the definition of terms, Mr. President, Your Honor, the cadets and interns, apprentices has been defined already.
Cadets, interns, and apprentices. Anong section po? Kasi section 4B is the definition of cadets. Hindi ko po nakita yung definition ng iba.
There's no consistent to avoid confusion, we can remove the interns, apprentices, and the trainees.
Okay. All right, Mr. President, Your Honor, to avoid confusion, we will amend and remove interns, apprentices, and on-the-job trainees, and leave the word cadets instead,
But there's
or other persons similarly situated.
Lahat po yon tatanggalin nyo?
Yes, Your Honor. So matitira na lang po yung cadets or other persons similarly situated.
So in other words, Your Honor, the students you are referring to are all cadets.
They're all cadets, Your Honor.
So pati who okay, I think it's clear enough to me. So if His Honor would like to make the amendment, he can make the amendment. I was just, as I said, pointing out that there may be need for clarity. So His Honor may make the amendment if he so desires.
I so move, Mr. President.
There being no objection to the amendment of our distinguished colleague, amendment is approved. Please proceed.
So, inalis na yun, ano? Tinanggal na natin yung cadets. Strike down. Hindi, kaya nga, inalis na yung interest sa ka-trainees. So, stop on cadets, and then all other persons, alis na rin yun. We start,
Okay.
so, shall be imposed on cadets.
So, wait.
So,
Saan ka yung amendment?
kaya ano?
Please proceed with the other amendments. Your Honors.
Just tell me what the political opinion is of the past. After political opinion. And line one.
25.
Yes. Your Honor, on page 10, line 25, after the word opinion, insert the phrase health status or medical history. And the reason for this, Your Honor, is that we do have basis to show that there has been health and medical history discrimination against our OFWs, including seafarers, even ailments that are not prejudicial to their companions. They would be barred from applying, Your Honor. And so we would like that phrase inserted. We
Thank you,
submit,
Mr.
Your-
President, Your Honor. What kind of medical history are you referring to, Mr. President, Your Honor? Kasi pag seafarer ka, dapat physically and mentally fit ka to do the job because the job of a seafarer is not an easy one. Medyo very physical po yun. And you should always be up to the demands of the job.
Yes.
Especially sa sea na kung saan maalon and palagi ka dapat attentive. So therefore, you must be physically and mentally healthy. So ano pong ibig niyo sabihin sa discrimination against medical condition? Ano medical condition po, Your Honor, are you referring to?
Yes, the actual phrase is health status or medical history. I note that this,
What's health status, Your Honor?
yes, Your Honor, I am explaining.
Okay.
So, before I give the example, I'd like to point out that this provision, this line that I inserted comes before the phrase that states, taking into consideration the inherent requirements of the particular job or undertaking. So it is noted, Your Honor, that there are physical requirements demanded of this position. So the health status or medical history that I will give as an example that has a history of discrimination is hepatitis B. And we worked on this for many years, and DOLE actually has an advisory number 5 in 2010 that there shall be no discrimination of any form against workers on the basis of their hepatitis B status, consistent with the international agreements on non-discrimination ratified by the Philippines, ILOC 111. So, Your Honor, we're not really introducing anything new. We understand that there are demands of the job. We leave it up to the best judgment of the employer, and I know that we already have conventions in place protecting this. It is just consistent, Your Honor, and using that as an example.
Yes, Mr. President, Your Honor, I see your point. If you're talking about medical history, as long as hindi kasama doon yung present health condition, then I will accept, Your Honor.
Actually, Your Honor, again, I will repeat, the phrase that I use is health status. When His Honor says, as long as it is just history, he will accept.
Medical
it is-
history.
It is very possible that a person's health status includes being positive for hepatitis B, but that does not in any way impair his ability to run a marathon, to climb a tree, to break world records, and that is precisely why there is that DOLE advisory that prevents discrimination of any kind. Again, I emphasize that this is not something new. I'm just using it as an example to be sure na covered po ito dito kasi yan po ang status nila, meron po sila niyan. Pero hindi naman ho nai-impair ang kanilang kondisyon. Now, if in fact debilitated po sila, iba yon kasi their condition is impaired.
Okay, pagdating po kasi sa PEME, Mr. President, Your Honor, at nakita doon na positive ka sa hepatitis B, baka hindi ka po matatanggap na sasampa sa barko because of that. And there is a requirement kasi, Mr. President, Your Honor, na lahat ng mga sasampa sa barko, wala pong present medical condition, Mr. President, Your Honor.
Well, perhaps would His Honor like to table this and ask his resource person to check with DOLE, because I have already mentioned 3 times that there is a DOLE advisory on this, and this is consistent with ILOC 111. So I am willing to have this tabled so we don't have to take up all the time. Let's proceed with the others, and may we ask the sponsors resource person to confer with DOLE.
Yes, go ahead, Your Honor. We can go to the next and then go back to that matter later, Mr. President, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. On Section 21, there is an enumeration of duties of a seafarer, and letter E states to continually improve one's professional competency by keeping up to date with the latest technological and scientific development applied in various maritime fields, continuous education, and keen observation of shipboard activities. I repeat, that is Section
Your Honor?
21, line E, page 13.
Line, Section 21,
Section 21, letter E.
letter E. Okay.
It is on page 13.
Okay. To continually improve one's professional competency by keeping up to date with the latest technological and scientific developments applied in various maritime fields, continuous education and keen observation of shipboard activities. What is it that you want to amend here, Your Honor?
Yes, so again, I have a question first before I proceed with an amendment.
Okay.
My question po would be a bit technical. Ano ho ba ang current practice ngayon when it comes to professional continuous education? What kind of continuous education, how often, and is it just the officers or is it the non-officers who are also required? And who normally pays for this, Your Honor? Kasi under this provision, it would be the duty of the seafarer, and I want to be sure. I am very pro continuous education, but I would like to know what the practice is. Kasi baka naman yung mga non-officers, mahirapan sila. The minority floor leaders on the floor with us, and he will agree with me that nakakatulong naman yata yung MCLE, yung continuous education naming mga abogado. But lawyers can pay, but many times it is their law offices that would pay for it. So I just want to know the practice sa seafarers para hindi naman po dagdag na bigat ito, although we do really want them to have access to continuing education.
Depends on the kind of ship.
Because it is phrased as a duty.
The recipients and the officers are all.
Letter E, minority floor leader.
It depends on the kind of ship that the seafarer is on board, Mr. President, Your Honor. Kasi merong ship na kailangan continuous upgrading yung mga seafarers na nakasampa doon para tumugma naman po yung kanyang skills, yung kanyang knowledge doon sa ship na mas mataas ang grade at mas technologically advanced than another ship, Mr. President, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor, but the question was, who pays? What is the practice?
The ship owner, Mr. President, Your Honor, the ship owner.
So that is not clear in this bill, Your Honor. It would appear from my perusal that it is the duty of the seafarer. So kung ang nagbabayad naman ship owner, baka ho pwedeng liwanagin natin at the expense of the ship owner.
I agree, Mr. President, Your Honor.
So may I make that formal amendment that in letter E, which is page 13, line 12 to 14, subject to style, to add the phrase "at the expense of the ship owner." But sorry, before I make that formal amendment, may I ask His Honor's resource person, it's the ship owner, no, not the manning agency. So
Ship
the
owner.
okay. So the amendment is at the expense of the ship owner, subject to style, if it's at the beginning of the phrase or at the end.
The manning agency is the representative of the ship owner, Mr. President, because the ship owners are based in abroad, and the manning agency is based here in the Philippines. So the seafarers deals with the manning agency all the time, Mr. President, Your Honor. So pwede na rin po yung
But I think it's still the obligation of the ship owner, no?
Exactly.
Okay.
Pareho lang po yun, manning agency or ship owner, kasi representative po ng ship owner ay yung manning agency. So, pwede natin ilagay manning agency, pwede natin ilagay ship owner as long as hindi po yung mismong seafarer ang magbabayad. So, I think it's suffice.
Well,
The minority leader is raising his hand.
Okay, with the permission of our colleagues, so I think this is a timely question to ask. Is it clear that in our measure that the liability of the ship owner is solidary with the manning agency and also the other way around?
That is correct,
Okay,
Mr. President, Your Honor.
Is it found in our measure? Kasi kung hindi, we are ready to also propose a provision to make that very explicit, Mr. President. So at the proper page and time, proper time, we will do it, Mr. President.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
Minority Leader, Senator Coco Pimentel, and you have a point, and I accept.
Thank you. So we will do it. We will do it in due time, Mr. President.
Yes.
At the proper place in the bill, Mr. President.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. President, I made my amendment, but is His Honor sure that the practice is it is always the ship owner? Because I got information from Amosop that sometimes they pass it on to the seafarers. So I'm not trying to reinvent the practice, but of course I would prefer that it is the ship owner. So I think that has to be a judgment call, or I defer to the wisdom of the sponsor kung ano din ang talaga bang sinasabi ng mga resource persons natin.
Accept only now. What is it that you want to amend again, Your Honor?
Your Honor, based on, Mr. President, based on the sponsor's response, that what is the practice? What is the current practice? Who pays for the continuous training? The answer the sponsor gave was, it is the ship owner. So I was already making that amendment. However, I just went out of my way to also ask Amosop, who His Honor recognizes as a leader in protecting the rights of seafarers, and I was told that depending on the agreement, sometimes it is the seafarer who pays. So I'm not trying to reinvent anything, but of course I would like the seafarers not to have to pay. Pero hindi ko alam kung malaking bagay ito sa mga companies. Usually naman daw silang nagbabayad.
Agree naman ba sa gumagana ni sir?
So
Okay.
it appears that
The common practice, Mr. President, Your Honor, if it's required by the STCW, then it should be the employer, meaning the ship owners. And that is the present setup, Mr. President, Your Honor.
Fine.
I'm sorry. According to Amasup,
Okay.
according to Amasup, since the Amasup has been quoted, so they are here and they just,
hindi naman nila alam kung sinong ka-text ko sa Amosop. So hindi ko naman papakita ko sa inyo yung pangalan, alam nyo na. But anyway, off the record naman. Ako naman po, I'm just asking what's the practice. I think, so are we comfortable saying that it is the ship owners that will pay? It will give us leverage in fighting for our seafarers. So that is the amendment, Your Honor.
That is correct.
Subject to style.
Mr. President, Your Honor, we already agreed, we already accepted the amendment that you're proposing, that we will put here the ship owner who will take over the charges. Mr. President, Your Honor.
There being no objection from the sponsor, the amendment is approved.
Thank you. Your Honor, my next amendment, if I make an amendment, would be on section 23. I'll give the sponsor a moment to catch up with that page. Section 23, page 14? Page 14. This is the pre-employment medical examination. So this provision states, all PEME, which is the pre-employment medical examination of seafarers, shall be performed only in DOH accredited medical facilities by authorized government medical practitioners and following the standards set by DOH. My question first, Your Honor, is kailangan ho ba ang magko-conduct ng medical exam ay government practitioner?
No, government accredited medical facilities. That a facility, it doesn't have to be government, but it has to be accredited by the government.
He's not,
DOH, meaning government here refers to DOH, should be accredited by the Department of Health. It
Yeah.
can be,
yes, Your Honor, but if you read the next line,
DOH accredited medical facilities, it doesn't say here only in government medical facilities. If you will notice, it says DOH accredited.
Your
It
Honor,
doesn't say only in government medical facilities. DOH accredited, meaning it could be a private clinic,
yes.
but accredited by the DOH.
That is correct, Your Honor, but there is another line after that. I read the whole provision. It states DOH accredited medical facility by authorized government medical practitioners. What does that mean?
Authorized government medical practitioners. Because other, even private practitioners can.
Okay. In that sense, Mr. President, Your Honor, I accept removing the word by authorized, by government, the word government, the word government. So it will read, all PME of seafarers shall be performed only in DOH accredited medical facilities by authorized government. No, by authorized medical practitioners.
And that is the confusing part, Your Honor.
I'm sorry,
I have not
by
made an
authorized medical practitioners, Your Honor.
I can make the amendment if His Honor would like me to help.
It says all PME of seafarers, go ahead, do the amendment, Your Honor. Do the honors.
Yes, Your Honor, my amendment would be to delete the phrase by authorized government medical practitioners and such that the whole sentence would read, all PEME of seafarers shall be performed only in DOH accredited medical facilities following the standards set by DOH.
I accept.
There is
President, Your Honor.
no objection to the sponsor. Amendments approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. This one is just a clarification. If it is clear to His Honor, then I will not have to make an amendment. Page 14, Section 25, on training and qualification. It states, only seafarers certified by appropriate government agencies according to the STCW and other applicable international standards shall be allowed to work and be employed on board a ship. Who is this? Who are these appropriate government agencies? Is this clear in the bill?
We're talking here of Marina, Mr. President, Your Honor.
Is it clear in the bill?
It is specified on the role of government agencies, Your Honor, Mr. President.
What section is that, Your Honor, Mr. President?
Akong nahirapan sa inyo eh. Section 84, Mr. President, Your Honor.
Section 84 of this bill? My question is it clear in this bill?
Well, it's included in the bill because it's stated on section. Hindi, ang tinatanong niyo kung nasa bill. No, it's in the bill on section 84.
Page 45.
Ano ba section 84?
Dollar.
Section 84, page 42. Your Honor. Says here, the following government agencies shall perform the following functions to promote the welfare and protect the rights of Filipino seafarers.
Agencies.
Is there,
Paragraph G.
yes, I found it, Your Honor.
Okay.
So, according to Your Honor, just for the record, the appropriate government agencies referred to here in Section 25 is the Marina, which is provided for in Section 84. Are there any other government agencies?
Marinam, bukod sa Marinam. Include ba dito yung CHED? Also CHED, Your Honor, Mr. President.
Are there any other?
Also the National Maritime Polytechnic, the NMP, Mr. President, Your Honor.
Should I ask again if there's any other? Because when I ask one, there's another. So would you like?
The Marina,
Concur.
the NMPA, the National Maritime Polytechnic, and CHED, Mr. President, Your Honor.
Okay. In that case, would His Honor like to mention these agencies in Section 25 because it necessitated consultation with the resource persons to get the answer, and I would just, again, for the same reasons I've been repeatedly mentioning, I just want there to be more clarity. So if His Honor is acceptable, let us just name these three agencies and instead of appropriate government agencies.
Kasi kanin hindi na namin nilagay, Mr. President, Your Honor, training qualifications. Dito kasi sa Section 42, nandiyan na po yung role of government agencies na kung saan ni-refer dito sa Section 25. Pero kung yun ang gusto nyo, pwede namin ilagay. Alang-alang po sa inyo.
Hindi ho, wag ho kayo mag-amend alang-alang
For
sa akin.
purpose of clarity.
Kung saan ho tingin nyo na mas maliwanag.
Maliwanag na nga ito kung tutusin po, Your Honor, Madam. Kaya lang,
Pero ho kasi nung tinanong ko ho kayo, parang hindi pa ho kagad makasagot ang mga resource person. So I wasn't sure if hindi pa clear. But if it's very clear, I will not make an amendment, Your Honor.
Your Honor, the resource persons are the one who gives me advice at sila po ang nagpapaliwanag sa akin tungkol sa mga nakasulat sa bill na ito. And they are the ones that tells me kung ano yung mga pwedeng isingit o hindi amendments dito po sa bill. Now, ulitin ko po for the second time, kasi po hindi nilagay itong yung mga government agencies na binanggit ko kanina tulad ng ST, yung O, yung CHED, NMP, and Marina sa Section 25 kasi po understood na yon pagdating sa role of government agencies, nandun na included na yon. But we can accept your amendment.
I did not make an amendment yet, Your Honor. I was just asking a question. And after I heard the answers, I said it's up to His Honor. On that note, hindi ho ba kasama din dyan ng TESDA? Kasi pag narinig ho ni Majority Floor Leader na si TESDA pang nakalimutan natin, baka ho tumakbo bigla dito yon. Ayan na ho, tumatakbo na ho.
Andito yung TESDA?
Kasama ho ba ang TESDA?
Kasama pa rin po sa TESDA.
Ang TESDA po kasama.
Kasama po yung TESDA.
Sige po, I am not making an amendment. I am leaving up to His Honor to make that decision.
Saan bang TESDA? Saan bang TESDA rito?
If I may just give a
Please
information, Mr. President, it's no longer because it's no longer with TESDA, so it's now with Marina. Your Honor.
So then I have made my point. Hindi maliwanag kung sino kasama, kung sino hindi kasama, di ba?
I checked it. It's no longer part of the draft bill, Mr. President.
Yung TESDA, Mr. President, it says here, the TESDA shall in consultation with CHED and Marina. Pagdating sa training, of course, TESDA kasama in consultation with CHED and Marina. Mr. President, Your Honor.
Senator Joel is the expert, so
I'm
we
also a
defer
bit
to the
confused, Mr.
expert.
President, because if it is program registration, then I'd say yes. And development of training regulations. But if it is assessment, I am pretty sure that it was during my time when it was transferred to Marina, Your Honors.
Well, the provision kasi, Your Honor, that is in if I may, Mr. President, Senate Majority Floor Leader, the provision in question is Section 25 that says only seafarers certified by the appropriate government agency. So the wisdom we seek from the Majority Floor Leader, former TESDA Director General, is would TESDA be certifying? Because that is the operative word in this section.